Welcome back to the moon. My name's Blake Cousins. We're live May 10th, 2013, 6 p.m. Pacific time, taking your calls from around the world in regards to the UFO phenomenon happening right now. We just got back from on location from the Pu'uko Big Island of Hawaii, investigating unusual strange petroglyphs, stone embedded by the ancient Hawaiians over 2,000 to 3,000 years ago. We also visited the volcano Kilauea. Are volcanoes portals to UFOs? Well, we just came back from there doing an investigative journalistic report on location, and we came up with some strange and unusual pictures and photographic evidence from the volcano itself. You know, Brent Cousins was also my correspondent on location here on the Big Island, and I want to bring in Brent Cousins and ask him what he thought of this strange, unusual petroglyph that we just photographed and shot with digital HD just about an hour ago.
Yeah, it was definitely a true adventure. We just got back. It was probably about 100 degrees. It wasn't easy. The conditions were tough, but we're happy to be there. It was about a 2-hour hike to get to this kind of secret location in its own self. It's not very well known to even the locals here in Hawaii. And we got to this scene, and we were kind of blown away by the things we saw. How about you explain what we saw, Blake?
Well, it's kind of interesting. 2,000 to 3,000 years old, the ancient Hawaiians were able to find this island, the Big Island, right here in the middle of the Pacific. And they found this unusual flatbed lava rock area in the middle of this jagged field of rock. They call it because it hurts to walk on it, and it's very sharp, razor sharp at times. So just to get to this location, this flatbed rock location where these unusual petroglyphs were carved into the stone, took me back just by getting there alone. And we're taking calls from around the world. I see a call coming in. We're going to take that call here in a bit. But I just wanted to say that I think in these formations and these drawings and these etches, petroglyphs, people call them, that there is evidence of an alien abduction right there carved in stone and possible ET-like formations carved in. Let's go to area code 210. Welcome to Third Phase of Moon. This is Blake Cousins.
Hi, Blake. This is Dave from Maine.
Hey, David. How's it going?
Good. Good. How are you?
Good. You know, I'm glad you called back. I wanted to let you know about some groundbreaking news that we just we made some new contacts just recently, and
okay.
we have people that are really interested in getting that tree sample. I remember I told you just hold on to it for a while until we kind of get the connections, and now we have connections right here through affiliate. And they have the equipment. They want to take a look at the sample. We could test it for radiation, and we would really want to get our hands on that tree that you say, you know, kind of died as a UFO hovered over it for a while.
Yeah.
Can you tell our viewers exactly, again, what this was all about?
Well, when I was real young, I was 3 years old, and tell my parents I keep seeing aliens in my window, or gray people in my window with big eyes, and they want me to go with them and stuff. And, you know, my parents didn't believe me until the UFO was hovering in front of the house and me waving back at it, my parents. And now I have a tree out in front of my house that has burns from whatever the ship did to it, radiation or whatever, totally dead. Nothing grows on it. You know, there's no bark on it. It's a pine tree, and there's no moss growing on it. It's just now starting to get moss, but this is 33 years after the fact. Other than that, it's never grown.
It's the only tree in the general area that seems to be affected because you had this UFO basically hover over it, as you say, right?
Yes. It hovered over it, maybe 100 feet off the ground. I mean, the tree, about 60, 80 feet at the most tall, you know. You know, we're getting calls in, and I want to get to the next caller, area code 480. But
first, I want to say that, my brother did sketches from your descriptions, and we're posting these sketches, and we're looking at them right now. What do you think about these sketches? There was
the sketch. One of the sketches my mom was kind of bugged on. It looked like my mom was just letting me go with them, like putting my hand on the shoulder, like, it's okay, you can go with them. And there's a ship there with two aliens looking out. My mom, I told my mom, that he was drawing a sketch for one drawing, just me and you, and the ship and the aliens on one other half of the picture, and they just happened to fade both of them together. They didn't split it.
Sure.
But my mother never was, my mother, I told my parents about it, and my parents never heard of anything like this. They weren't in that sci-fi stuff, and, they were, churchy, and after this, after they saw it, they got books and stuff like that, and, actually, realized that it's out there.
Something is out there, and, at Third Phase Moon, we just 2 days ago, we received a immense amount of information that came in, new videos, new photos, even on location at Area 51, incredible interactions with heavy security protecting the base. Let's go to area code 480. Welcome to Third Phase of Moon. This is Blake Cousins.
Blake, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good.
I was actually the one who was texting you. I'm the one from Arizona. I'm trying to get a hold of it, so I finally got through. I'm happy to be on.
Great. Well, you just emailed me, approximately 3 hours ago?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out which one is the Hawaii time, and because
I just want to let everybody know. Why don't you tell the people out there how fast the reaction is right here at Third Phase Moon in regards to taking people's, inquiries and, information.
That was very fast. I've always emailed other radio stations, from local ones or from far away, and you guys are absolutely the top. It was fast, very fast. Very happy to hear that response.
Well, you were telling me in your email that you were really a non-believer in UFOs until a recent experience that you had. Go ahead, can you explain to us what that was? Well,
to be honest with you, I'm from New York originally. And here and there I would see, stuff in the sky. My parents like, oh, my God, look at this. And I was just, I don't know, I wasn't really a believer. And, I didn't say I don't believe in aliens or UFOs. We can't be the only, life form out here. So, it makes sense. But like I said, never really was a believer until one day I was, it was about a month ago, I was at a store, and I came outside, and I see all these people looking at something. I'm like, what the heck are they looking at? So I look up in the sky, and I literally had to, look the other way for a second to make sure I wasn't dreaming. It was gigantic. It was a triangle thing with these lights on it. It was like a red-orange light, and the size is what blew me away. It was like maybe a football field. It was huge. And it was so close to the store that, looking up top, it was so close is what amazed me. And the fact that there was no sound, something that big. It was just windy, but just no sound, And the weird thing is, I'm probably crazy for saying this, but everyone that was looking at it felt like it hypnotized us somehow, but not in a bad way. It was just almost like, oh my God, look how amazing it is. And everyone was just staring at it. It was so quiet, and the feeling that it gave me, it just gave me a relaxed feeling, like it was non-threatening. It's hard to explain, but that's just the way I felt. And then everyone was just quiet the whole time. Everyone was completely quiet. It stood there maybe about 7 minutes, and all of a sudden, it just went split. One went that way, one went this way, and it went seriously so fast I can't describe it.
Wow, you're coming in a little staticky, so you might want to take care of that little technical problem. I don't know what.
I apologize.
If there's any way you could fix that static, would be helpful.
Yeah, sorry.
Maybe do a quick call back or something. Let's go to Mark real quick. It is interesting when people are reviewing or eyewitness to a massive UFO in the sky, it seems people are basically kind of stunned, and their reaction isn't what you would think. I myself would be running for the video camera, starting to grab evidence, getting people's reactions and saying, are you seeing what I'm seeing? But it seems in a way that there's some kind of power over the senses that kind of keeps you frozen in your tracks, like your mom explained, right, Mark?
Yes. Well, my name's actually Dave. But yes.
Dave. Used to that.
Yes.
Sorry about.
Both my parents, they when they saw it, they were mesmerized. My father, wanted to say, stuff. I mean, he wanted to wake my mom up. And, my mom did eventually wake up. But it was just, something they never seen before. I mean. They never read books on this. They never seen, the normal movies, old movies, but they never really, thought about it until then. Seeing them changed, my point of view. Probably mostly because of, them. When I went with them, it was fine. It didn't bother me. They were nice. They'd show me pictures of the Earth and the world and different places, Egypt and all that. But when it came down to the scientific stuff, where they wanted to probe me and poke me with needles and stuff like that, I couldn't do it. Later on. Maybe it's because I have a rare type of epilepsy. If I get hurt, I have nerve trauma. My body sends out too much adrenaline, and I OD on it, and I have seizures. So, sometimes I'll cut my finger and I'll have a seizure. Sometimes I won't. It's kind of funky. But
that's
it's just it's interesting. But maybe that's why.
I want to ask, back, epilepsy and, a sudden surge of reaction to the brain could trigger that, and maybe there's a possibility that, your encounters and that have a collaboration between them both. Christopher, over there in Arizona, what you describe as a 200-yard triangular craft in the sky, and then you said you're describing it as it split apart? Hello, Arizona caller?
Oh, yeah, you're still with me, Dave from Maine.
Yep, Dave. I wanted to talk get to the sighting in Arizona. He said there was a mass crowd over there, and they were just kind of stunned.
That's what he said, that it was a triangular shape, and when it left, it kind of split up.
That's what he said, and I wanted to ask a little bit more about that, because just recently we received a video right here at Third Phase of Moon from Joe Kiernan, a UFO hunter out of South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, and he captured an amazing triangular-shaped aircraft in the sky, but then all of a sudden, not that it was a strange-looking craft in itself with unusual lights underneath it, but it just cloaked out into thin air like something straight out of a Klingon ship from the Star Trek series. Incredible video. I'm really wanting to post this up in Third Phase. We're going to get rights granted so we could post from Joe Kiernan, and we look forward to sharing it out there. It is absolutely incredible. 1 minute it's there, and then within a second the whole thing just vanishes in thin air. And Joe Kiernan managed to get a really close-up shot on it. We're going to get close-up, slow things down, and see what this craft was, because if it's something that is in our government, well, I'm happy it is, because that is something absolutely incredible, and it'll come in handy in case people get silly around the world with all these explosions nowadays going on. The technology might be able to stop some of this stuff, but it's got to be done in a way that doesn't affect our rights. Right. What do you think about this, David?
I think a lot of it, is sketchy. You don't know, like all these UFO sightings, you don't know whether they are the alien greys or the lizard guys, or the human-looking ones with the blue eyes and stuff, or they could be government. We don't know, because the government don't divulge stuff like that. I mean, look at the stealth bomber. Look at the A-117. They were here for 50, 60 years before they really came out, before they even acknowledged them. So if they have them, they won't acknowledge them until, something drastic happens, that actual greys or aliens from another planet actually do come down in groves on this Earth. And that's when we'll actually see them, and they'll divulge them.
There's a UFO hearing going on in Washington, D.C., and it's going to be a 3-day event. Ex-senators, astronauts are coming forward with some of the most heavy-duty evidence in regards to the alien agenda, videos, descriptions, testimony, and people are kind of getting disgusted that, maybe other countries are going to be coming out and they're going to beat us to the disclosure and lay claim to their country being the first to divulge this new entity that's being visited to planet Earth and beat us to the punch. China may even claim the moon. They might go for the moon and claim it as for their own if they could get there first and colonize it, or get to Mars and call it the red planet of China. All these kind of agendas that other governments might be going after, and we're kind of like falling behind in this aspect, and our government doesn't want to come forward and announce this truly amazing thing that is probably happening right here, that we're not alone and they have the evidence. I don't know why they're not telling us, and they're going to let other governments beat us to it. One way or the other, we just want the truth, and we're going to keep giving out all the videos that come into Third Phase of Moon. We just did an interview on this Paracast radio show. I took the call, we're on the radio, and all of a sudden 3 DJs started to ram us right here at Third Phase and start calling every single video right here to be debunked. Everybody's a liar. Third Phase of Moon is like a P.T. Barnum, and that to me was a big insult when it came down to, they're discrediting everybody's testimony here, all the videos, all the Skype interviews we did. They're calling up, straight up liars, and it's a basic, kind of like that. Go ahead. When people...
That ain't the first time we've heard that. That ain't the first time I've heard that. That ain't the first time anybody's heard that have seen what we have seen.
When people don't know what they're looking at, they're kind of looking at Third Phase of Moon and they see it as a growing phenomenon. It's becoming its own entity. People are subscribing, 70,000 subscribers, 52 million views. It is a thing that was just kind of a living organism in itself. People want to come, Third Phase of Moon, and it's up to the people out there. If it weren't for people out there shooting, being on their toes, grabbing the footage, sharing their experiences, Third Phase of Moon wouldn't exist. But people know that this is a place to come forward, get the information out, and let's let everybody, take a look at the footage and make their own opinion.
Right.
We at Third Phase of Moon, we want to keep it transparent. I'm not here to claim judge that every single video on Third Phase is 100% legit, but we're looking at it. It's unidentified. If we can't really make out what it really is, we're going to put it out there and, let the people decide one way or the other. The thumbs up, the thumbs down, that'll, let kind of its democracy go. We let people comment, dirty or not, we'll let them up there unless it starts getting a little too heavy duty.
Right. I'm totally stumped on what to say.
Well, I'm still wondering if Christopher, he's still on the line here from Arizona, area code 480, your phone, did you get it situated?
Nope, I guess not.
I guess not.
Well, anyway, you know, I was saying, you know, this isn't easy for me to say, you know, like with the whole MUFON people and all that. This isn't easy for me to say. I don't tell people half of what I've seen because I tell them the first bit when I've seen them at 3 years old, and you know, it's I'm nuts, you know. So I don't even tell them, you know, from age of 3 on till like 13 years old, you know, the other stuff I've dealt with. You know, this is the first time I'm letting this out. You know, it's out there. People are interested in it. There's more people coming forward. I feel I have to come forward. I've had this, you know, I've had this with me all my life. You know, I've openly said it, and you know, I have proof sitting right in my yard to back me up. And it took, in your show alone, it took me 1 month, and I already have someone wanting to look at the trees. You know, and that's all from the third phase of moon.
Appreciate it, David. You know, when you came out and told your story, you know, people right here at Third Phase of Moon really felt that it was a genuine story. Some people criticized you right in the beginning, the first minute you came forward and just you wanted to tell your story, and then it went ballistic. You know, 250,000 views on that one radio station alone. We've done follow-ups. You know, I think over 500,000 people have already heard your story and fascinated by what's going on, and we're really looking forward to getting that tree bark sample so we could, you know, do some studies. I think area code 480 is back. Christopher from Arizona? Hello, Chris?
Don't know what.
Well, Chris seems...
Just me.
It's interesting.
Well, you know, you pick my head, Blake. You know, pick my head. You know, think of things. You know, ask me
let's
questions.
go with, you know, some of the descriptions. You know, you say they spoke to you telepathically. Did they ever, you know, come out and, you know, did they have a sound, something different than you explained it in between your ears, right? But did they ever make sounds like as an animal type, or any kind of sound besides telepathic communication?
It's in between, like, man, it's so hard to explain. Sort of like a bird, kind of like chirping amongst itself, like cheep 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 cheep, you know, but also like cricket. You could hear, like, it's a vibrating, you know, sound. You could hear it, like, I could hear them talk between themselves in their own little weird sound, and then it'd be right back to them talking to me, you know, human-like, just how we talk, me and you, but right in the center of my head. I mean, the only way I could explain it, if you plugged your ears and talk, you hear your voice in the center of your head, in between your ears, but it's kind of muffled. But with them talking to you telepathically, it sounds just the same as that in the center of your head, but just as clear as you're hearing me.
When they took you on board the ship and they were sharing, you know, they took you around. You said you've been to Egypt and saw you basically.
Well, they didn't take me around. They just showed me pictures and, you know, showed me different things. You know, I mean,
Did they?
I remember that. You know.
Did they play games, or were they showed you some kind of different things that they would do on their end? That, you know, hey, take a look at our kind of style of having fun. Anything like that? Any games that they played?
Yeah, they tried moving stuff, you know, levitating, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I didn't, you know, I couldn't do it. You know, I couldn't do it.
Were they trying to teach you on how to actually have a form of telekinesis?
Yeah, I think that now. I mean, back then I didn't know what they were doing. You know, they wanted me to, you know, think this way. You know, think that you can pick it up. You know, just by looking at it. You know, it's
okay.
That's little things that I remember. You know.
Is this Chris from
yes,
Arizona 480?
Yes, me. Can you guys hear me okay?
Now we got you. Okay, there you go.
I apologize. I don't know what happened to my phone. I apologize.
Hey, well, third phase of moon things are, people are watching. We don't know what's going on. Hey, people are watching from, probably from all angles, no doubt about it.
Yes,
but
sir.
The information out. Tell us, in Arizona, this 200 wide triangular shaped area. Can you tell us again what that, it broke apart, and what trips me out is that the people on the ground, they're not like panicking or do you find that odd? And
yeah, I find it very odd, and myself too. Everyone's staring. There's probably like 12 people, and everyone's staring at it, and no one was like saying anything, and it felt like we were hypnotized. It was so weird, and the message that I got from them, the feeling was like, we're here. We're not here to hurt you. We're just letting you know that we're here. That's the feeling that I got, because it was very non-threatening. And it gave us, me at least, a relaxed feeling. And I was staring at it for at least 6 minutes. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they split apart. So fast that I can't describe.
So was it a broad daylight sighting, or was it, what time of day?
It was
at
about
night.
7, yes, sir. It was about 7:30 p.m.
Was there anybody around? Was there any reports the next day in the papers, any YouTube videos that were uploaded from that area? We sure would like to, have some.
Yeah, I actually, it was funny because when I came home that night, I was just thinking about the whole thing, and I was turning on the lights were out, people were seeing them, and I ran real quick to tell my wife about it, and then I came back. I kind of missed it, so I'm still searching on YouTube, but I know that from that night that had been reported, it was on the news channel on the Arizona networks.
So there was some media coverage that picked up on, feed from the public in the general area that reported something.
Absolutely, and as a matter of fact, that night I was talking to some friends and told them what happened, and they were seeing the same thing 20 miles south from around where I was at. So, but he was telling me that when they were looking at this object, it was moving north, and that's where I live. I live up north Arizona, and when they had moved to north, it just stood still, hovering over the store that I was at, and all of a sudden it split apart. And when it had split apart, everyone got out of this trend. Everyone started talking about it all of a sudden. It was just so weird. It felt like it was a real hypnotization. Literally.
Hey, Chris, can I ask you, how did you come across third phase of moon?
Actually, because since that night, I just wanted to do some research and tell people about my experience, because, everyone I've talked to, they look at me like I'm crazy. So I searched on YouTube about videos, and I saw you guys' website, and I've been hooked since.
Well, that's great. It's cool that we, we're kind of the new MUFON, because MUFON, they even went to MUFON.
Don't trust them.
Yeah, they're kind of lackluster in their investigative, skills nowadays for some odd reason. They don't really follow up on a daily basis. It's breaking news. What you're describing sounds like it should be, broken on ABC 2020 in 60 minutes and get people's reaction. Really, it's going down, but they don't want to cover it. They don't want to talk about it, and
they don't.
And
I don't know if you guys know of the governor of Arizona years ago. I don't know if you guys remember, 1997. This is before I lived in Arizona, but 1997, it was a huge phenomenon about the Phoenix Lights.
Yes, the Phoenix Lights, and the event came out. The governor came out and said there were just flares.
Right.
Told everybody don't.
Absolutely, and that's what happened. And then later on, I think it was a year later, he experienced a phenomenon. He described that what he saw in his own backyard, and he basically apologized to the public, saying that, I'm sorry for making fun of people or just making a joke out of it, because he said that now he saw it. Now he's an absolute believer, because the funniest thing, when he described what he saw, it was almost the same thing as I saw, the triangular shape, and how fast it just disappeared. It split apart.
Now that you've had this experience from being a non-believer, what do you think now? Are you having more of an open mind of what's going on over the skies of planet Earth?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I mean, this, like I said, this happened to me a month ago, and now I've been doing so much research, and I found out that Arizona is one of the biggest states that has all these sightings. I mean, we're right next to New Mexico, Nevada. There's a huge government laboratory that they have in Nevada, I believe it is, and they do all these experiments. I had a buddy that was in the military, and he worked in that area for a while, and he said, Chris, you know, I can't tell you exactly everything because I'm still disclosed. I'm not allowed to tell you everything, but he said that there's amazing things that happen there. They do crazy experiments, and the government pretty much knows what's going on.
You know, I wish we had more time right here on the third phase of the moon. Our show is just about to end. We got about 50 seconds. Any last words real quick, David? And we look forward to the bark samples coming into third phase of the moon so we could get that stuff analyzed.
Yes, I will get them bark samples sent to you. I'll have someone get them. But yeah, my grandmother lives out in Arizona, and so does my aunt, and they saw the same thing, the Phoenix lights, and an hour and 8 minutes or something like that after.
Right.
The government did flares, you know. So, you know, they're just trying to cover it up, just like everything else. You know.
Absolutely.
They know what's out there.
Hey, real quick, Blake, is there a way that we can hear the recording that we just had spoken about? Would it be on your website?
Certainly, you know, right here on Blog Talk Radio, we take this program and we take it to YouTube. We put video and we post it on Third Phase of Moon, and that's where the big hits come from, and that's where the people really get to experience the true nature of this radio conversation, because with the visuals and the testimony, we're doing something different here at Third Phase, and we want to make it relevant and keep people watching and listening. So, you know, both entertaining and enlightening at the same time. And it's with people like you talking and submitting their stories is what
sure.
Makes the moon go. Hey, Chris, appreciate it, and we definitely keep your eyes on the skies. You know, Arizona is a hot spot, and I know now you're looking in the skies a lot more than you ever have in your life, right?
You got it, absolutely, and I hope that I'm sure with the next experience I'll be able to call you guys again.
All right, well, you keep us informed over here at Third Phase Moon, and if anybody out there has captured anything amazing in regards to UFOs, you can contact Third Phase of Moon via Skype or Facebook. My name's Blake Cousins, and we'll see you again next time. Welcome back to the moon. My name's Blake Cousins. We're live May 10th, 2013, 6 p.m. Pacific time, taking your calls from around the world in regards to the UFO phenomenon happening right now. We just got back from on location from the Pu'uko Big Island of Hawaii, investigating unusual strange petroglyphs, stone embedded by the ancient Hawaiians over 2,000 to 3,000 years ago. We also visited the volcano Kilauea. Are volcanoes portals to UFOs? Well, we just came back from there doing an investigative journalistic report on location, and we came up with some strange and unusual pictures and photographic evidence from the volcano itself. good. You know, I'm glad you called back. I wanted to let you know about some groundbreaking news that we made some new contacts just recently, and we have people that are really interested in getting that tree sample. I remember I told you just hold on to it for a while until we kind of get the connections, and now we have connections right here through affiliate, and they have the equipment. They want to take a look at the sample. We could test it for radiation, and we would really want to get our hands on that tree that you say, you know, kind of died as a UFO hovered over it for a while. Yeah. Can you tell our viewers exactly, again, what this was all about?
Well, when I was real young, I was 3 years old, and tell my parents I keep seeing aliens in my window, or gray people in my window with big eyes. And
they found this unusual flatbed lava rock area in the middle of this jagged field of rock. They call it because it hurts to walk on it, and it's very sharp, razor sharp at times. So just to get to this location, this flatbed rock location where these unusual petroglyphs were carved into the stone, took me back just by getting there alone. And we're taking calls from around the world. I see a call coming in. We're going to take that call here in a bit. But I just wanted to say that I think in these formations and these drawings and these etches, petroglyphs people call them, that there is evidence of an alien abduction right there carved in stone, and possible ET-like formations carved in. Let's go to area code 210. Welcome to Third Phase of Moon. This is Blake Cousins.
Hi, Blake. This is Dave from Maine.
Hey, David. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
You know, Brent Cousins was also my correspondent on location here on the Big Island, and I want to bring in Brent Cousins and ask him what he thought of this strange, unusual petroglyph that we just photographed and shot with digital HD just about an hour ago.
Yeah, it was definitely a true adventure. We just got back. It was probably about 100 degrees. It wasn't easy. The conditions were tough, but we're happy to be there. It was about a 2-hour hike to get to this kind of secret location in its own self. It's not very well known to even the locals here in Hawaii. And we got to this scene, and we were kind of blown away by the things we saw. How about you explain what we saw, Blake?
Well, it's kind of interesting. 2,000 to 3,000 years old, the ancient Hawaiians were able to find this island, the Big Island, right here in the middle of the Pacific.
They want me to go with them and stuff, and you know, my parents didn't believe me until the UFO was hovering in front of the house and me waving back at my parents. And now I have a tree out in front of my house that has burns from whatever the ship did to it, radiation or whatever. Totally dead. Nothing grows on it. You know, there's no bark on it. It's a pine tree, and there's no moss growing on it. It's just now starting to get moss, but this is 33 years after the fact. Other than that, it's never grown.
It's the only tree in the general area that seems to be affected because you had this UFO basically hover over it, as you say, right?
Yes. It hovered over